She the queen, yeah, that's Queen Esquire. Legal trouble, she getting you out the fire. Another dame, she solving another case. Cause she litigate with dignity and grace. She the queen, yeah, that's Queen Esquire. Legal trouble, she getting you out the fire. Another dame, she solving another case. Cause she litigate with dignity and grace.
Hello, litigators and opinionators. Court is now in session. You guys, we have been talking about this crazy case that has happened this past weekend in Mexico. There are so many twists and turns to this case where 4 individuals were shot at, kidnapped. This case gets crazier and crazier. It turns out, allegedly, there was a 5th person that went on this trip with them. It was another lady who looked like a crackhead. I'm just not gonna lie. She looked like she was on drugs. I'm just saying, these people look drugged out. I'm serious. All of them do. Just to be honest, if you just want to look at appearance-wise, they look like they have some drug background. And I have been doing some digging and come to find out, y'all, the individuals involved in this case have a very lengthy criminal record, y'all, and it relates to cocaine and other drugs and all that stuff. Allegedly. So we're going to get into all these allegations that are floating around about these individuals. But apparently there was a 5th person that was a young lady who went on this trip with them. And she was not able to get into Mexico because she didn't have an ID. So she allegedly had to stay back in Brownsville, Texas, in the hotel that they were staying at. They were staying at these really cheap, busted, broke down hotels, allegedly, like Motel 6 and stuff like that. Allegedly, these are all allegations, okay? So she was allegedly staying there, waiting for everything to happen, waiting for them to come back from this trip that this girl's supposed to get a tummy tuck. But there's some people out there, guys, they're actually questioning whether that was really the true intention for why they were going there. Some people are questioning it, saying that maybe it was a drug transaction because these individuals have a very lengthy criminal record. So let's get into all this. Another detail too that has been divulged is that, the 2 individuals that passed away, Zindale Brown and Shaid Ward. Well, they're alleging that after a car crashed into their car and then the cartel individuals started shooting, they're alleging that Zindale and, oh my God, Shair, or whatever his name is, started running out of the van. They got out the van and started running. And as they were running, they were all shot together, and that's when they were unalived. So that is another allegation that is floating around in the, in the social world. So let's get and break down some of these different rumors that are going on. First rumor we're going to talk about here is this young lady who was supposed to be the 5th lady that went on this trip. Y'all, she looked like she is a straight crackhead. And that's just my opinion, guys. Don't get mad at me. I'm just saying, look at her. She looked like she does drugs or something. What is she on in this picture? I don't know. They got a pretty bad picture here, but this picture is courtesy of North Carolina Beat. And he says here, 5th person seen inside van of U.S. citizens kidnapped in Mexico. Wife of survivor speaks out. So this is not the survivor's wife here. This is another girl. So, let's read his article here that NC Beat had. NC Beat says, "Child, this Mexico kidnapping story is getting wild. And Eric Wise Williams, one of the 2 survivors, may be in trouble with his wife if she reads this story." And this is Eric Wise, one of the lucky survivors, I would say. Very lucky man. By now, you know the story about the 4 U.S. citizens that were kidnapped in Mexico last Friday and rescued Tuesday. From what we know, it was a trip for Latavia to get a tummy tuck by a Mexican doctor named Roberto Chavez. That is the alleged name of the doctor. Zindale Brown, Shaid Wardard, may they too rest in peace, and Eric Wise Williams, all of South Carolina, rode with Washington. And these are the individuals that were in the van. We have Latavia Washington, Eric Wise Williams, who are the 2 survivors. Eric Wise sustained 3 shots to the leg, 2 shots to one leg and 1 shot to another leg. And these are the 2 deceased individuals. They are alleging that these 2 got out of the van and started running. And after they started running, they allege that's when they were shot. So That is the rumor going on. But if you look at them, I'm just saying Zendale kind of looked like he on something. I'm just saying he do. When I first saw it, I just kind of, that's what I was thinking in my head, but I didn't say anything. But now that these allegations about the drug charges coming out, I'm like, okay, now it makes sense about what I was thinking in my head that I didn't want to share. Okay, anyway, once the four arrived, a white minivan they were driving crashed and shots rang out, and the cartels kidnapped him. On Tuesday, all four were found, but only two were alive, and the other two were deceased. So we got Latavia Washington, Eric Wise Williams, Latavia Washington and Eric Wise Williams survived. Shaeed Woodard and Zendale Brown didn't. What needs to be discussed is the fifth person inside the van we have yet to hear about at all, and that was the young lady I just showed you. The video obtained by North Carolina Beat show the four identified U.S. citizens inside the van having what appears to be a good time as they travel to Matamoros, Mexico for Washington's surgery. However, in clips of Facebook videos obtained, there is a fifth woman who can be seen sitting besides Williams, y'all, and occasionally hiding behind him from the camera. So she was sitting beside Eric Williams. Ooh, was he having an affair? I don't know. But she was apparently hiding behind the camera when they would show the camera. In a recent interview, Eric Williams' wife, Michelle Williams, says she had no clue that her husband was headed to Mexico. Ooh, they having some problems in that marriage, y'all. I'm just saying. I didn't know what he was traveling to Mexico. Oh, sorry. I didn't know that he was traveling to Mexico. I just knew he was going somewhere to help two friends, Michelle told WBTW in an interview. So let's watch this interview. This is supposed to be one of the wives, allegedly. Let's hear what she has to say.
Megan Bob Michelle Williams, the wife of Eric Williams, told me she has not slept since Sunday when she realized her husband was one of the four kidnapped in Mexico.
I didn't know that he was traveling to Mexico. I just knew he was going somewhere to help two friends. I didn't hear from him on after Friday morning. He texted me and I texted him back immediately and he didn't respond. He didn't respond to our son either. So I'm going to assume that that's when they were ambushed.
Williams says her husband did not tell her he was going to Mexico, probably because he knew she would not have allowed it. She said she saw the video surfacing on the web, but did not realize it was her husband until the FBI came to her home Friday to inform her Eric was kidnapped. She said the four were found in a wooden shack where they were being guarded by a man who was arrested. The remains of the two dead will be turned over to U.S. authorities following forensic work at the Matamoros morgue. Authorities said Williams had been shot in the left leg, but the injury is not life-threatening.
Okay, so although we didn't get to see her, which I actually might go back to her Facebook because we had her Facebook before. Now here's the problem here, y'all. They're not trying to insinuate that Eric is cheating on his wife, Michelle, but for one, North Carolina Beat is saying that he finds it strange that there is another woman in the van who they have not heard about throughout the whole incident. For two, she is in the back seat sitting besides Eric. And three, Eric's wife didn't know he was going to Mexico. If that doesn't tell you something, then we don't know what else will. Now, I don't know if he was really cheating, guys. It could just be that's just how the seating was, and that could be her friend. Nobody really knows. So I don't think we should put that on that man. I don't think we should at all. I'm going to leave that alone. You can see Latavia, Zendale, Shaeed in one of the videos we obtained. Then you can see Eric Williams with another woman who appears to be sleeping beside him. Okay, now that part is suspect. Sleeping beside him. Is she cuddled up next to him? That's the question I have. Now, North Carolina Beat has identified the fifth person as Cheryl Orange of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and he has provided this video. So courtesy to North Carolina Beat for providing this video, but let's take a look at the video and see what happens here.
Hey, y'all. Good morning. Look at Tay up there.
Fuck y'all. Fuck y'all motherfuckers.
Look at Zell nose.
We on the way to Mexico, bitch.
Say it hair dead. Hey, 10 days. Oh shit, it's a bro hanging up. What's that? Throw in your bags. Throw in your bags. Good morning, America. Mexico, here we come. I'm black as hell. I'm in the bag. They go to gas station. They go to gas station. There's a gas station right there, fool. I see the gas station. And I'm down for that's where you go when you want to scratch. So I'm going to buy a lottery ticket out there.
So I'm gonna play that video. I'm gonna play that video again, so just in case somebody missed that. But if you saw, he turned the camera to the woman. She was sleeping in the back next to him, and she had a purple bra. So yeah, that video does confirm that there was a fifth person inside that vehicle. That woman should be thanking her lucky stars that she didn't have ID on her. I thought it was kind of suspect that she didn't have an ID. How are you going to drive all the way across the country into another country without an ID? That part I thought was weird. That's why I said I feel like some of these people are a little bit off their rockers. But this video confirms that there was, in fact, that fifth woman in that car. And so let's play that video one more time, just in case some of y'all missed it, and we'll move on to the next information that's coming out about this case. This case gets more and more weird.
Hey, y'all. Good morning. Look at Tay up there.
Fuck y'all. Fuck y'all, motherfucker.
Look at Zell nose.
We on the way to Mexico, bitch.
Look at Zell nose.
Bitch.
Yeah, Mexico. You see niggas got neck braces. Shit.
Boy, go to hell.
Gliz ain't. Now look at this motherfucking hair dead. Hey, 10 days. Oh shit, it's a bro hanging up. What's that? Throw in your bags. Throw in your bags. Good morning, America. Mexico, here we come. I'm black as hell. I'm in the bag. They go to gas station. They go to gas station. There's a gas station right there, fool. I see the gas station. And I'm down for that's where you go when you want to scratch. So I'm going to buy a lottery ticket out there.
So that's some real tea right there for us guys to see that fifth girl in there. And here's a photo of her right here. This was the girl that was the fifth young lady. This is her on better days, y'all. On better days, because that first picture we saw, she looked straight, laid out on whatever she was ingesting, in my humble opinion. Again, allegedly, just opinions. But this is her. She was the fifth girl allegedly in the back of the van, sleeping next to Eric. Now, I don't know if anything was going on. Maybe she was just there for the ride. I don't know what the relationship was with Eric, or if not, or if that was just a friend of Latavia. But it turns out she got lucky because she didn't bring her ID, which was kind of weird. And so she ended up staying back in Brownsville, Texas at some busted hotel, while the other four ended up going into Mexico. So she was the one that allegedly reported them missing. So that's how this whole case started to unfold, because she called back to South Carolina and was reporting like, hey, they didn't come back. Something's not right. What's going on? So she should be thanking her lucky stars, y'all, that she did not go into Mexico, because she may not be here. I'm just saying. But thank God she is. Her name is Cheryl Orange. That is her name, y'all, right here. Just the girl. It's unclear what happened to Cheryl, but she wasn't with the other four when they crashed and were kidnapped. In another video we obtained, you can hear Williams tell everyone to wake up because they have been driving since last night. She said, N-word's been driving, N-word's been eating, P-U-S-S-Y. What? Who P-U-S-S-Y had Williams been eating if his wife was at home? Oh my gosh, guys, that's hot tea. I didn't know that was in this article. I'm reading this for the first time with y'all. This is some hot mess. What was really going on, guys? Is this really a trip to go get a tummy tuck, or was this something more? Were they going to get some type of drug transaction? Guys, I'm starting to think some stuff is up because people online is also feeling the same way, that there's something sketchy about this whole case. And even when we're going to hear from the mom and all that, and it just seems kind of a weird situation. And then you also have to ask, why she got 5 kids? Why is she endangering herself going all the way to Mexico, taking $7,000? That kind of money could have been used to buy her 5 children more clothes, whatever, school, or buy sports. You, instead of using your money to pay for resources for your children, you take $7,000 to Mexico. Oh my God. Some of these people don't have their priorities straight. And you see how loud and rambunctious she was in that car. Like she was thugging out like, we going to effing Mexico, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I don't know about these people. I'm starting to side eye, guys. I'm starting to do the side eye.
Everybody need to wake the fuck up, man. We have been driving since last night. Niggas been driving, niggas been eating pussy. Man, I drove the motherfucking damn South Carolina. You crazy as shit. I get listen, and that's what make it fool. Listen. Okay, so then it's my turn again, and then I'm gonna I'll go ahead and drive to Orlando. I'll drive to 8 hours. And then you can go from there. Yeah, it's 8 hours from here to Orlando, man. We can stop in Florida if you want. No, fuck, we can't. But, man, no, I think people want to kill me in Florida. Hey, we don't want to mention that. Oh, listen, let's go back. Hey, listen. And you close as fuck to her. God damn, son. What the fuck you find now? You don't look like that one work in, the nigga, they both. I guess so. Hey, Coco. Well, you still got the niggas on live and shit. Hey, Coco, you want some? Hey, Coco. Hey, what up, people watching? Look at Shot Glizzy. Y'all see his motherfucking head? Look like. If it ain't one, you done made it one. Hey, y'all see that on that thing? Look at that nigga got a strong motherfucking arm, man. Hey, turn around, side to the people.
What the fuck up, bitches?
You see what a life preserver on that nigga? We gonna survive, bitches.
Come on, these motherfuckers.
And I thought it was kind of suspect when they were saying, when he said he got people in Florida who want to unalive him. I'm like, what's really going on? What is really going on? You got people in Florida want to take you out. Then what kind of stuff they are involved in? It seemed like they're involved in some real sketchy stuff. If you got enemies that are trying to unalive you and take out your life, and then he talked about eating somebody's stuff, and it's probably not Latavia because they're like family. I'm thinking it's that girl. So who is that girl romantically involved with? Which I have questions about because Shahir has a whole girlfriend and stepkids, and then Eric has a whole wife. And I don't know, maybe it was Zendel. I'm questioning who was over here eating whatever. And it's none of our business, but I'm just saying, you're supposed to be married. Talking about you eating stuff you shouldn't be eating. I'm just saying, y'all, let's move on. We saw that video. In her interview, Michelle says she didn't hear from her husband, Eric, after Friday, March 3rd. So she said, I didn't hear from him after Friday. Michelle Williams told WBTW Friday morning he texted her, and I texted him back immediately. He didn't respond. He didn't respond to our son either. So I'm going to assume that's when they were ambushed. Another video was obtained, shows Eric showing Cheryl on camera again saying, I keep a female laying on me, even if it ain't mine. Wow. Eric said he keeps a female laying on him even if it ain't mine. Wow. And you're married and then you don't tell your wife that you're going out of the country? This don't sound like so much of a very stable marriage to me. It sounds like there's just a lot of dysfunction in that relationship. But this might been his little sneaky link. Now it's starting to sound like a sneaky link because he's talking about eating stuff and he got this girl's bra and he's all next to her and she's laying on his lap. Yeah, this is sounding suspect, y'all. Let's watch this video.
She's dead. In the bed. Hey, dead girl. Don't worry about the bro. Don't worry who's it is. Man, damn it. Ha! And look at my neck. And my chest. Ha! We out here.
We outside, bitches. So we know.
You see? I keep a female laying on me. Even if it ain't mine.
Boy, you don't get that phone from that motherfucking boy.
Look at it. Yeah.
He gonna have it now.
Oh, she looked like she was real comfortable laying next to him. Let's play that again. She looked very comfortable laying next to him. That looked like a side chick to me. That might have been his little sneaky link side trick. Oh, he got caught cheating. See, that's what they get, putting stuff on social media, trying to be cute. And again, this is all allegedly, just my opinion. Trying to be all cute, y'all. And over here getting caught cheating, allegedly. Had a fifth girl in that car. And they was trying to hide that whole sneaky link. Wow, guys, let's play this again.
She's dead. In the bed. Hey, dead girl. Don't worry about the bro. Don't worry who's it is. Man, damn it. Ha! And look at my neck. And my chest. Ha! We out here.
We outside, bitches. So we know.
You see? I keep a female laying on me. Even if it ain't mine.
Boy, you don't get that phone from that motherfucking boy.
Look at it. Yeah.
He gonna have it now.
Yeah, guys, she looked very comfortable, like laying next to him. That looked like a sneaky link, in my opinion. Y'all let me know what you guys think. Do you think that's a sneaky link, or you think she's a sneaky link here and she was just going on a ride with her boo thing? Some ain't right. Some ain't right. We're gonna keep going to Monica, guys, because there's so much stuff to get into this case. There's too much drama unfolding. But before we get into that, we're gonna hear from the Latavia's mom, who spoke with three of her daughters or three of her kids. People have some things to say about this mama, guys. I'm gonna try to keep my comments to myself because people was being real disrespectful talking about the mom. Just because the mom didn't speak properly or didn't speak proper English, some people are Southern and they don't have, proper grammar and all that. We can't judge people. Everybody has their own phases in life, but people online were not being too kind to this mother, but I'm gonna be kind to her because she could have lost her daughter. So let's hear from her.
Returning to the U.S. from Mexico after their group was kidnapped last Friday. They had traveled there so that Latavia Washington McGee could undergo a medical procedure. Now, McGee is back in Texas this morning, uninjured. Eric Williams was shot 3 times in the leg. The 2 others who were kidnapped, Shaheed Woodard, and Zindell Brown, were sadly killed. I want to bring in now Barbara McLeod Burgess. She is Latavia Washington McGee's mother. Also with us is Amani Washington, Latavia's 13-year-old daughter, and along with Latavia's sons, Cadence McGee and Junior. They are joining us for their first live interview. And I'm happy that you guys are here to bring light to this. I'm sorry about what happened. Barbara, good morning to you and everyone. Have you spoken to Latavia? And if so, how is she doing?
Good morning. She was doing okay. I talked to her last night.
What'd you guys talk about?
And I asked her how she was doing. she was telling me that how they was hostile and how they had it in that little place and it was stank with the her brother in there and all of them was hostile in a little thing together. And they were moving them from place to place.
Did she understand? Did they understand what was happening to them at the time?
No, because she said when they was had drove, they was going through and a van. They was driving through and a van came up and hit them, and that's when they started shooting at the car, shooting inside the van or whatever. And I guess she said the other ones tried to run and they got shot at the same time. Yeah. Shahid and.
So you can hear her say what happened. So Shahid and Zindel started running, and as they started running, they got shot. So this sounds like a straight hit because the car hits them, they start shooting, and then Zindel and Shahid, they abandoned their friends and they start running. I thought all these men were supposed to come there to protect the women. No, they abandoned the women, started running, and then they get shot soon thereafter. This case is crazy. And then they were over here moving around from different places. But let's keep hearing from what she has to say.
Have they told you anything beyond that? Have you spoken to authorities at all, Barbara?
About the kidnapping?
Yes, ma'am.
I talked to someone that was asking me a question about when it first, I guess after day 2 after it happened, and he was asking me something about it, and I told him, he was asking me a question about Latavia and that she was in danger.
What are you hoping comes out of this? I know no one can bring your loved ones back, but what are you hoping happens from here, Barbara?
I hope they get all of them and put them all in jail. The one that did it. Put all of them, every one of them that had something to do with it, I want them locked up.
Yeah. Amani, have you had a chance to speak to your mom?
First, I guess after day 2 after it happened, and he was asking me something about it, and I told him, he was asking me a question about Latavia and that she was in danger.
What are you hoping comes out of this? I know no one can bring your loved ones back, but what are you hoping happens from here, Barbara?
I'm on the trails, and I didn't like it, and I wanted to get to her.
Amani,
get over there to her.
Amani, you saw it. You must have been worried about your mom. What were you thinking?
His mother had passed away when he was like 15, and I had there was hostile and how they had it in that little place, and it was stank with the her brother in there, and all of them was hostile in a little thing together, and they were moving them from place to place.
Did she understand? Did they understand what was happening to them at the time?
No, because she said when they was had drove, they was going through and a van. They was driving through and a van came up and hit them, and that's when they started shooting at the car, shooting inside the van or whatever. And I guess she said the other ones tried to run and they got shot at the same time. Yeah. Shahid and Zell and Eve, they all got shot at the same time, and she watched them die.
And you helped to raise Shahid.
Dang, guys, she watched them die. That is so traumatic. You got to watch people you grew up with die. And it turns out even though Shahid was her cousin, he was like a brother to her because her mom helped her mother pretty much raise Shahid as her own kid. So that's pretty sad to watch your own cousin / brother die in front of you after he tried to run away. That's some crazy stuff. I didn't even know they got out the van and started running, but now it makes sense for why they were out of the van, because there's a photo out there where they're all out of the van and you see 3 bodies laying flat on the ground, and the young lady is sitting propped up. So I was like, how did they get out the van? Now it makes sense because it looks like they got out the van and was trying to run. And that was after the car got hit. So the car gets hit intentionally by one of them cartel people, right? And so that disables the van. So when they start shooting, they felt they had no choice but to get out the van and run because their car was disabled. So they get out the car, start running, and then as soon as they start running, unfortunately, as sad as it is, she had to see Shaeed, and she had to see the other young man, Zendel, get killed instantly, just die right in front of her, and then see Eric get shot in the legs. That's sad, man. That other fifth girl, that lady, she should be glad she could not get into Mexico, because this could have been all bad.
Right, who died. Can you tell us about him?
Yes. I had his mother had passed away when he was like 15, and I had him ever since then. And Latavia, he was in the house, and so she checked him as her brother, which is her cousin, but it's her brother, and her cousin is my nephew and my son. And she was a good person, and I miss him. I love him, and nothing I wouldn't do for him.
Were you watching? Did you see the video on the news?
Yes.
And what was going through your head when you saw it?
Well, a lot of bad stuff. Bad stuff.
Amani?
When they throw my daughter on that truck, that's what.
Go on, Barbara. Sorry, you were saying what?
No, sir. Especially when I saw them throw my daughter up on that truck and Shaeed on it, they just grab them and throw them up on like trash. They throw on the trucks, and I didn't like it, and I wanted to get to her.
Amani,
get over there to her.
Amani, you saw it. You must have been worried about your mom. What were you thinking?
I was just thinking, like, why did they get kidnapped and stuff like that?
Yeah.
And I know the mom kind of mumbles a lot because I guess that's kind of how her accent is. But if you heard what she said that Shaeed Ward, which is the cousin that died, his mom died when he was younger. And so she had to raise him as her own son. So he was more than just a cousin to Latavia. He was like her brother. They grew up together. They were raised in the same house, kind of similar to Quavo. You know how the Migos, that's kind of happened with the Migos, where Quavo and Takeoff, and they were all raised together as kids. That's similar to this situation where Latavia was raised with her cousin in the household. So he was like a brother to her. And she was just talking about how she would do anything for him and just how traumatized she is seeing them being thrown onto the truck like that, like they were a piece of meat. And sorry, I got to repeat what she said, because some of the stuff people couldn't understand last time when I was looking online. People couldn't understand what she was saying. So trying to help those people out who are having a hard time.
Do either of you know about what happened and why? Because they believe at this point that is a case of mistaken identity. Have they told you anything beyond that? Have you spoken to authorities at all, Barbara?
About the kidnapping?
Yes, ma'am.
I talked to someone that was asking me a question about when it first, I guess after day 2 after it happened, and he was asking me something about it, and I told him, he was asking me a question about Latavia and that she was in danger.
What are you hoping comes out of this? I know no one can bring your loved ones back, but what are you hoping happens from here, Barbara?
I hope they get all of them and put them all in jail. The one that did it. Put all of them, every one of them that had something to do with it, I want them locked up.
Yeah. Amani, have you had a chance to speak to your mom?
Yes.
What did you talk about?
All I did was say hey and told her that I missed her and I was ready for her to come home.
Yeah. Listen, I can't begin to imagine when families go through situations like this and your whole life is sort of put on display in front of everyone. I know that is disconcerting, but to have someone die and then get on television and talk about it, at least members of your family, your mom and your daughter didn't die, but it's got to be tough for you. Can you explain, Barbara, what your family is going through at this moment?
All I know is I know that this hurt, and that's all. This hurt because of what happened to Shaheed, and which he died, and when they had kidnapped him. So I know this all hurt about everything.
This is, Barbara, I understand the second time that your daughter went down to the area in Mexico for a medical procedure. Did she at any point before say that she felt unsafe about it?
No, she didn't.
Yeah.
She didn't tell me nothing about it. She didn't.
Listen, the CDC is warning against medical procedures outside of the country. They are calling it a level 4 warning, the State Department is. Do you have a message for other people who may be considering the same thing, Barbara?
No, I just wish that I know that for the family member that was, like the other family, I would know that is hurt and feeling, sad and stuff about it. And some of the people out in America, they probably do too.
How are you guys? Are you guys going to go are you going to Texas, or how are you going to do it? Is she going to come home, Latavia? Are you going to go see her, or is she wait until she comes home?
We can wait until she come home. She's supposed to come home today.
Monty, anything you want to say before I let you guys go? Because I can see that that JR and Cadence are getting restless.
Yeah.
All I gotta say is that thank you for helping find my mama, and that's it.
Yeah. I should say Junior. So thank you so much for joining us, Barbara. Thank you, Amani. Thank you, Cadence. Thank you, Junior.
So as you can see, guys, it was really hard to kind of understand what they were saying. And also, if you could look in the background, you can tell that house was messy. The clothes on the right side, clothes was all disheveled in that little Tupperware. Then on the left side, you could see that little vent thing was all discombobulated over there. I'm like, what that woman could have did with that money is to upgrade that house, really take care of her kids. She had $7,000, you guys. She has 5 kids. I'm just like, sometimes us in America, we prioritize things of vanity and just looks over more important things like our kids. I'm like, look at that. The kids are sitting here in this house that doesn't look too quality. In the background, I'm just saying, y'all, I'm looking in the background like, what is really going on in this house when you got $7,000 that you could use to help with your family? I don't know. This case gets more and more disheveled, guys. And wait till I get into the rest of this. And even when you hear the mom, you couldn't really understand too much of what she was saying. I got bits and pieces. Y'all let me know if y'all understood some of the stuff she said in the interview. It seemed like she couldn't even really understand what the reporter was saying, because he was saying, did you have anything you want to say to the public? And it seemed like she didn't even respond to the question. So I don't blame her for that, because not many people are used to being interviewed by reporters. I mean, this seems like a woman that lives in a southern, town just to herself, not used to all this publicity, not used to being interviewed. So I don't blame her at all for not really understanding what was going on. But I just felt a little bit of empathy for those kids. I just feel like those kids aren't getting the quality love and attention that they really deserve and need. Now, y'all, let's get into the real tea. This is a hot mess. Wait till y'all hear the rest of this stuff. Let's get into it. Right now, it's already on the screen, y'all. These people, they look like they on drugs. Anyway, I'm just going to give my opinion. When I saw them pictures of them, I was trying to be empathetic because of what happened to them. But I was in the back of my head, I was like, these people look like they on some drugs. They just look like some druggies. I don't know, but look what happened. People were digging and they found out this. Daily Mail allegedly found out this. Daily Mail says 4 Americans in Mexico have kidnapping have a lengthy rap sheet. Male survivor, which is Eric Wise Williams, allegedly sold crack cocaine outside of a school, y'all. Allegedly. One of the men that were shot dead was busted for drugs manufacture And the woman who Latavia allegedly was indicted after her daughter, who was 8 years old, tested positive for amphetamines, y'all. Dang. This is the real tea, because I thought these were some wholesome, sweet Southern folks that just wanted to go down there and help their friend out. They got all these drug rap sheet over here. What's really going on? Were they really going for a tummy tuck, or were they going over there to do a drug transaction? I have questions, because you got the male survivor who sold crack cocaine allegedly outside a school, and one of the men who was shot dead allegedly was busted for drug manufacture. And she was indicted. The woman allegedly was indicted because her daughter tested positive for amphetamine. So, guys, what's really going on in this case? This case is getting crazier and crazier by the second. 4 U.S. citizens kidnapped by the Gulf Cartel, Latavia McGee, Eric Williams, Zindell Brown, and Shaeed Woodard, have lengthy rap sheets, allegedly. They traveled to Mexico to accompany McGee for a cosmetic tummy tuck surgery when they were caught in gang crossfire in Matamoros. Now, I still question now whether they really were going down there for a tummy tuck, because there's rumors, and this is just a rumor, y'all, that she allegedly had gone down there before. Well, that's what the mom said. But what the rumor is that they claim that she got her butt done the first time when she went there. But I'm like, y'all, that looked like a regular butt to me. We'll go back to those pictures later on down the line. Let me see if I can find her pictures again. I don't know if I really believe her getting a tummy tuck or whatever, y'all. I don't know. I'm just saying. They said the FBI is investigating shooting that left, but sorry, I was reading something random on here, guys. I don't know if she got some butt surgery done before. That's what they're trying to claim. I'm wondering why they were really going down to Mexico. I have questions, because their record is not looking too good. And they look like she prioritized her kids too much. You know how some of these parents out here, they be having all these kids, and then they want to act like they don't have kids, and they just be out here doing other stuff. She acting like she's a single woman with no kids, over here taking $7,000 from the mouths of her children. You got 5 kids. That $7,000 should have been spent on them children. I'm sorry. Now I'm being a little judgmental. Y'all gonna be mad at me. I'm sorry. At first, I was being empathetic yesterday night until I found out all this tea. I'm like, oh no. And I looked at the background of that house, and that house don't look too up to par. Anyway, Williams and McGee survived, but Brown and Woodard were unalive. The group were found in a stash house in El Tecolote, 6.5 miles from Matamoros. 4 U.S. citizens were kidnapped in Mexico by the notorious criminal and drug syndicate Gulf Cartel, have lengthy criminal rap sheets, y'all. This is crazy. Latavia McGee, Eric Williams, Zindell Brown, Shaeed Woodard traveled to the U.S.-Mexican border town Matamoros on Friday when they were caught in crossfire and abducted. Brown and Woodard did not survive, and that's when they were all running to try to escape. Daily Mail can reveal that Williams was previously busted for distributing. So Eric Williams, remember the Eric Williams? I was over there talking on the live, talking about eating the P word with the girl next to him. Well, he was previously allegedly busted for distributing crack near a school, y'all. Crack cocaine near a school. Like, handing out candy. Instead of handing out candy, he was handing out crack cocaine. Allegedly near the school. These people aren't as cool as I thought they were. While McGee has been slapped with unlawful conduct towards a child when her daughter tested positive for amphetamines, allegedly. Now, guys, this is sounding real suspect. I'm just starting to think that this mom is not really as much of a responsible, attentive mom as I thought. I was sitting here going to bat for this girl, y'all. I was going to bat for her. And now I'm like, oh, heck no. She's one of them typical moms that have all these kids, and they don't really care to have the kids. They just have them there floating around, probably getting government funding probably for those kids, and don't really care too much about them. They're just there, but not really prioritizing, because she acting like she's single with no kids, going over here all the way to cross country, taking $7,000 with her. Why not spend that money on your children? Invest in your kids. You should be. That's a lot of money. I mean, I would be trying to get my kids in some type of sports or whatever, get their nice quality clothes, good shoes, hair done. I just make sure my kids, upgrade the house to make sure they get a nice, comfortable, clean home. I'm just saying, there could have been a different priority done with that money, and she could have worked on her health instead of going over here to get a tummy tuck. I still wonder if the tummy tuck was really the intention, because now we look at all these drug charges. I'm wondering, were they going to Mexico to buy cheaper drugs? That's a question I do have now. Woodard was charged with the manufacturing and possession of drugs and pleaded guilty. So that was Shaeed Woodard, who passed away. He was charged with manufacturing and possession of drugs, and he pled guilty to that, allegedly. While Zindell Brown, who was unalived, was also charged for possession of marijuana and hashish. I can't say that word, hashish. Marijuana or hash. So look at this. They all got drug charges, allegedly. All these people allegedly do drugs, including the mom. And she had her kid over here with some amphetamines in her system. That's crazy. The four were found in a rundown stash house near a place known as La Laguna in the town of El Tocote, about 6.5 miles from where they were taken. And here she is right here. This girl, I was really going to bat for her. I told y'all on the live not to go for her, not to come for her. But the more I hear about this mom, she sounds unfit. How is her kid with amphetamines in her? It's like, do you really care about these kids? Like, what really, why did you have all these kids and you don't even really want to take care of them like that? That just sounds like she really giving the kids all the love and attention and care they really need. Something about me just made me feel like those kids need love, and attention. Latavia McGee was previously indicted on March 3rd, 2016 on 5 counts of unlawful conduct towards a daughter who was 8 years old at the time. So that to me sounds like it was the 14-year-old girl. Let me know what y'all think, because y'all probably better at math than I am. But it sounds to me like it was that young girl, the older girl that was talking. That she might have been the victim in that case. So this lady was charged for 5 counts, y'all. 5 counts of unlawful conduct towards a child, her daughter, who was 8 at the time, March 3rd, 2016. Wow. And look at the irony of this shirt. Don't be a menace. And she sounds like a menace. This woman sounds like a straight menace. Even with how I heard her cussing and acting a hot fool on those videos with Eric on the way. She sounds like a hot mess. My empathy for her is just kind of now plummeted. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all gonna be mad. I'm sorry. My empathy is gone now. I was feeling real empathy for this girl, but I'm just like, wow. And here's Eric Williams over here allegedly distributing crack cocaine like it's candy near a school. Who does that? This dude's a clown too, allegedly. He's a straight clown. And the way he was talking on that video, he sounded like a hot mess. Wow. When you really get to know people for who they allegedly are, you start seeing that, man, okay, I want to know who you are first before I start extending my empathy, because I don't know. Eric Williams was previously busted for distributing crack near a school, allegedly. Now, Zindell here, rest his soul. He do look rough around the edges. Y'all know, y'all don't want to sit here and lie on the live. Don't try to act brand new. He does look like he'd been doing some drugs. He do look like that. But rest his soul, because he shouldn't have died like that. So Zindell Brown was also unalived, was accused of domestic violence in the first degree in July 2019, which was determined as nolo pro, which means it was abandoned. So he was accused of domestic violence, but it looked like he never got convicted. The case was just abandoned. But that doesn't mean he didn't do it. You guys know in a lot of these domestic violence cases, the women always tend to relinquish, and they usually will recant their statements and be like, oh, don't hurt my baby. Don't hurt my man. So we don't know whether or not this man committed domestic violence, but he was accused of it. We can say that much. Allegedly. Man, guys. And Shaeed Woodard, rest his soul. He passed away. That's so messed up. I don't like seeing people die, no matter who they are. Shaeed Woodard, 4 U.S. citizens who were kidnapped by the notorious criminal and drug syndicate, Gulf Cartel, had a lengthy criminal rap sheet also, allegedly. So they all have criminal rap sheets, y'all, allegedly. That's crazy. So let's take a look at this map, guys. There's current government warnings for Americans traveling to Mexico. And these are the current travel advisories for Mexico from U.S. government. Only 2 states, Yucatan and Campeche, are completely free of advisories. Look at this, guys. Only 2 states in Mexico. Only 2 states are free. Those are the only ones, are the green ones on the map. Just the 2 green states there, Yucatan and Campeche. That should tell you something. Don't go there. Mexico is completely, it should be boycotted at this point. Literally all these states except for 2 have warnings. So the red is just don't go there at all, period. Capuche. There's no compromise there. Orange is reconsider travel. Basically, don't go there. If it says reconsider travel, don't go there. Look, the orange one, Baja California. This is where Shanquella Robinson was. No, Baja California. Shanquella Robinson was over here, y'all. She was in exercise increased caution. So she was in one of them danger zones either way. Yeah, they should have been there. Guys, looking at this map just tells you do not go to Mexico. Mexico is not safe. That is way too many states that have warnings, whether or not it's level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. I'm sorry, it says reconsider travel. That means don't go there, even if it's not a level 4. And yellow, exercise increased caution. That's just not safe. I'm sorry. I wouldn't go. And then red, do not travel. Well, there's no compromise there. That is a shame that only 2 states allegedly are safe. Yeah, guys. And those are not your tourist places that people really want to go to. The people like going to Cancun and other places. Guys, we're in different times right now, guys. And Mexico is not it. And they don't prioritize Americans like that. Look what they're doing to Shanquella. I just say boycott Mexico. Don't go there. Okay? Do not go there. There's a lot of people. Wife of kidnapping Mexico. A Mexico kidnapping mom says daughter watched cartel murder. Dang, that's sad that the daughter had to watch the cartel murder her family. That is so messed up, guys. But anyways, let's get back to the real tea. We're trying to hear about this criminal records going on with these people. These people turned out to be Dusties, allegedly. Williams was jailed. Okay? Eric Williams, the one that was out back, talking all that mess in the back, who's married, who's over there talking about eating people's private areas, him. He was jailed for 18 months in March 2018 after being busted 12 months earlier for distributing crack cocaine near a school. His arrest affidavit obtained by Daily Mail reveals. Allegedly. That's crazy, guys. He was arrested for 18 months for that. Wow. He was caught in a sting by a confidential informant working for Lake City Police Department in South Carolina and nailed by video evidence. Guys, I'm wondering, why were they really going to Mexico now? I'm having a hard time believing all these people were going there to help this girl with a a tummy tuck. I'm thinking, what if they were doing a drug transaction? Because this is astounding. They all seem to be involved in drugs in some way or some fashion, allegedly. William was charged with 2 counts, distribution of cocaine base around March 1st, 2016, and distribution of cocaine base with proximity of a school. Wow, Eric. Really? Really? This is how you really are, allegedly? Wow. Lake City Police Major Patrick Miles wrote on the first court arrest report that Eric Williams did while on River Street in the city limits of Lake City willfully and unlawfully violate the South Carolina drug law. The defendant did distribute quantity of crack cocaine to a confidential informant working with the Lake City Department, allegedly. Wow, so you know what he did when he was distributing the crack cocaine? He distributed to an informant. So this person he distributed to was somebody posing as a buyer when in reality they were really working for law enforcement. He got straight trapped. This violation was recorded, audio, and video, and was investigated by the Lake City Police Department Narcotics Division. On the second count report, he added, This violation did occur within a half-a-mile radius of Ronald E. McNair Jr. High School and was in session at the time of this incident. It's like these people have no regard for children. Like they out here doing all this and they got kids of their own. This is just like, wow, these people sound to me like complete lowlifes. Now, did they deserve what happened to them? Absolutely not. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying when you look at their character, you start wondering really what's going on in this case. Is it more than just a tummy tuck for why they were going over here? It just sounds real sketchy. And then another question I have is why did that fifth girl, why does she not have her ID on her? That sounds weird too. Like you're going all the way across the country and you didn't bring an ID. That's the first thing you would bring when you're going that far. That's weird. William was given credit for 60 days time served for his sentence. He pleaded guilty to the 2 counts. Wow, he pled guilty, so it's no longer allegedly. He said he guilty, resulting in other indictments against him not being prosecuted. Wow, so he did like a plea deal, y'all. He was charged with a bunch of charges, and then he entered a plea to 2 of the counts, and he was charged with multiple counts. So he was like, I'll plead to these 2 counts if you drop the other ones. But either way, he did a very horrible thing, in my opinion, to be selling crack cocaine to an informant near a junior high school. Seriously? Seriously? Is this the type of people we have going on in this case? Wow, what a mess. Well, it seems like the drug cartel did target the drug dealers. People sound like drug dealers. Allegedly. These included another charge of distributing cocaine on March 1st, 2016 to the same informant with a further charge that this was near the high school. So it looks like he did another transaction with this confidential informant at another incident near a high school this time. Wow. Another indictment was that on June 3rd, 2016, Eric Williams possessed crack cocaine with intent to distribute near a school. So he did it on another day, guys. It seemed like he was constantly over here near schools selling crack cocaine. Why would you pick a school to sell crack near a school to sell crack cocaine? Dang, it seemed like these people really don't care about kids. Wow, allegedly. I'm just saying allegedly. Now, this was 2016. We don't know if this guy changed his life, but Facebook that we saw, guys, he looked kind of sketchy to me. I'm just saying. His arrest affidavit for the latter charges read that he was seized for outstanding narcotic distribution warrants and had in his possession a prescription pill bottle with 50 Adderall pills. What? 50 Adderall pills? He sound like a straight druggie. The bottle did not have the defendant's name on it. Now, this makes sense to me now why on one of his Facebook posts that we looked at, he had all that money and stuff. Now it's probably because he does all these drug sales. He's a drug dealer. Allegedly, this guy's a drug dealer. Look, he got 50 Adderall pills, in a prescription bottle that didn't even have his name on it. So it sounds like he got that from the streets, which makes me wonder, is he getting his drug supply from drug cartel? Is he going to Mexico to get his supply there? Are they going there to get their supply there and then come back to the U.S. and sell it? Because Mexico, they can get pills like this without a prescription for cheap. So it makes me wonder, do they go there, get these prescriptions, get these kind of pills and stuff that aren't prescribed, and then come back to the United States and sell it for higher prices? Allegedly. That's an opinion I have, though. I wonder what your opinion is, but it sound like there was more to this trip, guys, than just some type of tummy tuck. I'm having doubts that I believe that this was a tummy tuck. And they brought $7,000 when they trying to buy a whole warehouse or whatever of drugs. I don't know. What is it called? Wholesale? Trying to do a wholesale transaction of drugs to take back? Questions, guys. These are just questions. The list continued. Several small plastic bags containing a white rock-like substance which tested positive for cocaine base, which was recovered from the defendant, and the defendant was Eric Williams. So he had 50 Adderall pills, allegedly. Several small plastic bags containing a white rock-like substance, which tested positive for cocaine base. Dang, he had all kinds of drugs on him. Williams was also allegedly charged with having a loaded .22 caliber handgun in his right rear pocket while he was being frisked in a Lake City street for weapons in September 2015. The affidavit said the defendant is a convicted felon and is prohibited from possessing any firearm or ammunition by state law. Now, these charges are some years old, but still, you know, he might have got good at not getting caught. You never know. So a soldier stands guard outside the Forensic Medical Service morgue. So this is the morgue, guys, in Mexico building, awaiting the transfer of the two bodies of the two of four Americans that were kidnapped by gunmen to the U.S. border. So this is the morgue where their bodies are, guys, in Mexico. Wow, I've never seen a morgue in Mexico before, so it's interesting to see what the building looks like. They're over here guarding the area of the bodies are. That's pretty sad. Again, another side of that morgue, the Forensic Medical Service morgue building in Matamoros, Mexico, where Brown and Woodard will be repatriated back to the U.S. So here's another side of that building, and there's the soldiers over here guarding it. This is crazy. This is crazy, guys, when you hear all these details. It added, this incident did occur in the yard of 345 Scott Street, a location that the defendant does not reside at, and a location that officers have received numerous complaints of drug activity and prostitution. Wow. So they're talking about where he was making all these transactions at near the school. It was in an area where there was numerous complaints of drug activity and prostitution in that particular area. So he knew that was a drug area where he was over there making these transactions. Wow. So Williams, at the time, he was a teenager when he was charged with burglary. Dang, he was charged with burglary too when he was a teenager? Sound like a career criminal to me. The arrest warrant says that on January 24th, 2002, he was with another man who did forcibly enter a residence by pushing out an air conditioner unit from a bedroom window. Wow. 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 But Williams was spotted, positively identified, and charged with second-degree burglary. He was committed to the South Carolina Youth Offender Act for no more than 5 years, meaning supervision. Kidnapped survivor Latavia Washington was indicted on March 3rd, 2016 on 5 counts of unlawful conduct towards a child, a daughter who was 8 years old at the time. The arrest affidavit said the girl tested positive for drugs on March 2nd, 2015, after a sample of her hair was collected for analysis after social services became involved in the child's welfare. So, man, she was having social services in and out of her house. So, like I said, that sounds to me like she was not really caring for these kids like she should. And you can look at the background of that house, and it looks like a very poor quality, unkempt house. So I wonder if these kids are really getting the love and care and good treatment they deserve. It said the child tested positive for amphetamines, cannabinoids, and native THC. Dang, this kid had all kind of drugs in her. And how she get these drugs in her? Did her mom give her these drugs to try to make her go to sleep? Because you know sometimes these parents be giving their kids drugs to get them to go to sleep. That is crazy. The 5 counts said Washington placed the girl at unreasonable risk of harm, affecting the child's life, physical, and mental health or safety. Washington was given an original sentence of 5 years, which was suspended. She was given a credit of 2 served at the State Department of Corrections. She was put on probation for 3 years and made subject to random drug and alcohol testing at least 4 times a year. Shaid, who was unalived in the horror, had a lengthy drug charge sheet with records showing he pled guilty to drugs manufacture or possession in September 2015, and he was sentenced to 100 days in January 2016, which was taken as time already served. So Shaid is the cousin. Remember, kind of like the brother, his mom died? Well, he was over here being charged with drug manufacturers, possession of drugs, and all that. He was sentenced to 100 days. The marijuana bust arrest warrant on the street said he was carrying several clear plastic bags of various sizes and weights that is consistent with distribution. The marijuana was pre-packaged in several clear plastic bags. Y'all, that's a drug dealer. He was over here selling marijuana to people, allegedly. So Mr. Shaheed, who died, was a drug dealer. That's how he made his money. It don't sound like Shaheed had a real law-abiding, job. He was over here selling marijuana to make a living, allegedly. The marijuana was recovered from the defendants during a frisk for weapons. Woodard also spent 72 days in jail in 2009 for his part in a burglary. Wow, so Shaheed over here committing burglaries too? Make it make sense. He and Eric Williams are over here burglarizing. I wonder if Shaheed was the friend that went with Eric to burglarize that building. I have questions, okay? Because he spent 72 days in jail in 2009 for his part in a burglary after admitting scaling the roof of a building with two others and getting into a store in East Main Street, Lake City in January of that year. Oh my God, guys, these people had all kind of criminal records. They are not on the up and up, like people were saying at first. The trio had grabbed clothing, attempting to flee when they were grabbed by patrol cops. Wow. Lieutenant Roger Tilton wrote on the arrest affidavit for the then 19-year-old, the defendant and two co-defendants did unlawfully enter the business known as Downtown Fashions. The defendant and co-defendant did climb on the roof of the building and enter the store through the air ducts. Once inside, they placed several items of clothing and apparel into a white trash bag and attempted to leave the store. They were apprehended by patrol officers as they fled the area. The defendant admitted his part in this incident. Wow, guys. Wow. That is a whole lot of stuff we just learned, y'all. This is getting crazy. Can you believe all this stuff that they're involved in? They sound like straight drug dealers, both of them. Eric Williams is over here selling crack cocaine over here near schools. And then we got Shaheed over here selling marijuana, and they both burglarizing houses allegedly. And then we got the mom over here, kids, drugs. Like, who does that? Allegedly. Like, wow. These people are just straight hot messes. No wonder they got themselves in hot water over here in Mexico, because they don't seem to make good decisions as it is. Their whole life is seem to be making making poor decision after poor decision after poor decision. So it's starting to make sense why they ended up landing themselves in Mexico in the midst of a drug cartel shootout, because they don't seem to make good choices in their life. They don't really think about the welfare of others or themselves. It doesn't seem like. Military personnel kept watch at the scene where authorities found the bodies. This is where they were over here watching. Now, this was a photo we've seen of this guy who claimed to be, he was the security, I guess, for them when he was, guarding the shed where they were staying at. And he's the one that's the fall guy. Basically, they arrested this dude. He's 24-year-old Jose, and he was arrested in connection with the incident. Mexican officials say he was in charge of monitoring the the four victims. Look how little he is. He's definitely the fall guy, guys. They already all knew this was going to happen, like I said before. Okay. And this is a picture of the shed where they were kept at. Forensic technicians were seen working at the scene where authorities found the bodies of two of the four Americans kidnapped by gunmen. The FBI units escort two Brownsville Fire Department EMS ambulances through Veterans International Bridge at Los Tomates with the two surviving U.S. citizens who were kidnapped on March 3rd. Get back to the criminal records here, because they keep giving us side, stories or side topics in the midst of this. But back to Shaheed. Now, Shaheed, his original sentence for third-degree burglary was no more than 5 years in the State Department of Corrections under South Carolina's Youth Offenders Act, right? Which was reduced to 18 months on probation with 72 days of time served taken into account. He was also ordered to have weekly drug and alcohol tests for the first 6 months. Can you believe this, guys? This is insane. Are you guys as shocked as I am? This case gets crazier and crazier, right? Like, wow. But in October 2009, Woodard found himself in trouble again. Dang, Shaheed was just a career criminal. They all were. No wonder birds of a feather flock together. Drug dealers, drug users, they all flock together, it seems like. Allegedly. Woodard found himself in trouble again for receiving stolen goods with a value less than $1,000. He's stealing too. He admitted to the offense and in April 2010 was sentenced to 180 days in the Florence County Detention Center, which he had already served. And a lot of times these people, they stay time in jail so long that it becomes the norm to them. It's like it's not even anything new. An accusation of violent burglary. What? Y'all, Shaeed allegedly committed a violent burglary. Mr. Dread Dude did. What? An accusation of violent burglary in July 2007 was handled with a nolo pro ruling, meaning it was abandoned. So it looks like he never was convicted for that. Probably because they couldn't find the victims. Allegedly. In March 2008, he was arrested for having marijuana. Several other drug allegations were dismissed and not indicted. He was also accused in September 2015 of a catch-all charge of distributing, selling, or manufacturing controlled substances near a school, which was dismissed. Wow. So Shaeed over here selling drugs near a school too. Everybody over here, Eric Williams and Shaeed over here. Now wonder they're Mr. Buddy Buddies because they doing the same stuff. A domestic violence charge in the second degree from the same date was remanded to the magistrate family court in Florence, South Carolina. While he over here beating on this woman, selling stuff, just all acting a fool, right? Allegedly. The count alleged that he attacked a household member by wrapping a phone cord around her neck and strangling her with it, impeding her breathing and airflow, and causing lasting physical injuries. Dang. You mean to tell me Shaeed, the one with the dreads that little kid was just talking about how was just a wonderful guy he was, he over here allegedly strangled a woman and blocking her airflow and stuff and caused lasting injuries, physical injuries to this woman? Allegedly? Oh my gosh, guys, this case is a mess. A previous domestic violence in the second degree accusation a year before was dismissed and not indicted, according to court documents. And again, that doesn't mean anything because y'all already know that a lot of times these female women, they will keep recanting and not wanting to prosecute because they want to protect their man, they king. You know what I mean? The nightmare trip to Mexico had been for McGee's cosmetic tummy tuck surgery, relatives claiming the group traveled together to sharing load. Now, they probably did travel to share the driving load, but I'm having questions, guys. I'm wondering if they really went there only for some tummy tuck. Now, they say they have paperwork to prove she really went there for a tummy tuck, but just because they went there for a tummy tuck doesn't mean they didn't want to go do some other stuff too. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, because they over here sound like drug dealers. I don't know. And they look like they on some type of drugs. Based on their photographs we seen last time when we looked at their Facebook. They look like they were on something. That's just me. I just looked at my opinion. That's just my opinion, y'all, because when I looked at their Facebook, I'm like, these people look like they on some type of drug. Like, what's really going on? What kind of drug? What they doing? They look like they on something. This is what happens, though, when you hang out with people like this and you involved in some sketchy stuff. You get yourself wrapped up in crazy stuff like this. And they do look like they've been doing drugs and stuff. This makes some sense to me. This is crazy. I feel heartbroken for those kids, man. Those poor kids look so loved. That's not even a right word. I'm just making up words. They look like they're not loved. They're not really getting all the true love and attention they deserve. These kids don't ask to be born into this world. That's messed up, y'all. I'm just saying. But anyway, local outlets have reported a fifth had been with the group before she was denied entry at the border for not having the correct identification documents. Remember we talked about her? She's the fifth girl we just talked about who's over there cuddled up and had her bra all on the window and was sleeping on Eric, who's supposed to be married. Probably was his side chick, because it looked like he don't have much respect for the law, so definitely don't have respect for a covenant or marriage. Definitely, in my opinion. Family members of Brown revealed that he had been reluctant to travel south of the border. Zindel kept saying we shouldn't go down, Brown's sister Salandria said in a phone interview with AP. Zalandra, who lives in Florence, South Carolina, said his death has been like a bad dream you wish you could wake up from. To see a family thrown in the back of a truck and dragged, it's just unbelievable, she said. Brown and Woodard's body were taken back to the U.S. on Wednesday. So they're already taken back Wednesday from a forensic medical off-service morgue in Matamoros. So it looks like they are on their way back to the United States. The bodies are. Thank God they're going back. They actually found the bodies and stuff. That's the good news. Pictures from the moment of their capture have started to circulate online, showing the group at the back of a vehicle. So this is the pictures of them. Look, this is actual close-up shot here. You can see the cartel with their guns. There's that girl right here. There's them over here dragging the bodies like there's some type of I don't know, like there's some type of rag doll or something. That's crazy. Crazy, right? 4 Americans kidnapped at gunpoint after crossing the border to Mexico. Here you can see the map of where their car went. I like how they have these maps, guys. These maps are so educational and helpful to look at. I love Daily Mail. Sometimes Daily Mail is not as accurate sometimes. I mean, well, no, a lot of times they're good, but every now and then you got to be careful. Every now and then you got to be like, let me make sure, because sometimes they be doing too much. Now, Wednesday, March 1st, friends depart Lake City, South Carolina in a white minivan. So they left March 1st, y'all. Dang. And this happened on Friday. So that makes sense. So March 3rd. So that took about 3 days to get to Mexico. That's when they depart March 1st from South Carolina. They drive all the way. They drive 1,450 miles. Dang, y'all, that's a long time to drive. So they drove all the way here, kind of near these border states. They drove the border way into Texas and then into Matamoros. This happened. So Friday, March 3rd is when they were kidnapped in Matamoros. So it took them 3 days to get to Mexico. Tuesday, March 7th, group found in stash house. 2 alive, 2 dead. I love these maps. They're so helpful, guys. They help you see everything. The vehicle came under fire shortly after entering Mexico. Passengers were taken from the scene by armed men. Rural town El Tolcote stash house, 6 miles outside of Matamoros. So this is the little shed they were at. But I love this map, guys. It really helps us see the full picture of what happened, when it happened, what day they left to the location. This is a really educational tool here to use here to get a full idea of what happened. When rescued, McGee seen barefoot, covered in dirt, the trauma of the incident evident on her face. She survived the ordeal, with Williams, who was shot in the left leg, according to Mexican officials. The others did not survive. Mexican officials said they believe the incident could have been a case of mistaken identity and could be connected to the notorious Gulf Cartel, who are prominent in the region. At least one person has been arrested in connection with the incident, and the surviving Americans were taken to the border near Brownsville, Townsville in a convoy of Mexican ambulances and SUVs Tuesday. They were then delivered to the U.S. consulate officials. Williams, who survived this with non-threatening gunshot wounds to his legs, had not told his wife, Michelle, that he had been traveling outside the country. Wow. He didn't even tell his wife he was getting out of the country. You guys, it sounds to me. I mean, like he was over here with his little sneaky link. And that's why he didn't tell her where he was going. You know what I mean? She said she didn't know he was traveling to Mexico. She said, I knew he was going somewhere to help 2 friends. He lied to her. He definitely lied to her, allegedly. She said she had not heard from him since Friday, explaining how he texted her in the morning, and I texted him back immediately. He didn't respond. She said, I highly doubt they thought this could have happened to them. In the press conference on Tuesday afternoon, the governor of Tamaulipas, America, Veral Anya, who broke news of the 2 surviving Americans at a separate press conference in the morning, confirmed the identity of the person arrested. Now, here is a photo of him. This is Lakena or Sekale, 19, the leader of Gulf Cartel. Sorry, he's not arrested, though. He is the leader of Gulf Cartel. He's 19 years old. Can you believe a 19-year-old is the leader of the Gulf Cartel? His name is Jose Alberto Garcia Veneno, alias La Quena Osilan, 19. So he is the leader of the cartel. But that's crazy, y'all. He's 19 years old out here being a leader of a whole cartel. Wow. Running things, calling shots. This is the actual photo of him, the leader himself. Now, he wasn't arrested, but they just got a photo of him. Okay. Because 24-year-old Jose N was arrested. He was in charge of monitoring the victims. He was a fall guy, basically. Because they all was facilitating this exchange after they got that money. You know what I mean? He said noting the victims were found in the house near a place known as La Laguna in the town of El Tocate in Matamoros. During the 3 days after the criminal act, the 4 people were transferred to various, including a clinic, in order to create confusion and avoid rescue work. Officials in Mexico would not confirm whether the person detained in relation to the kidnapping is related to the criminal organization Gulf Cartel, which is also known to operate in the region. Mexican officials said that the group arrived in Matamoros at 9 a.m. That's when they got there. These little alleged drug users and dealers, allegedly, they arrived to Mexico and Matamoros at 9:18 in the morning, y'all. They were caught in a terrifying ambush hours after arriving in town. So at about 11:45 a.m. is when they got ambushed. Tamaulipas State Attorney General Irving Barrios said that information related to the kidnapping surfaced online and that videos and pictures shared by people helped in the rescue. At the time, authorities didn't know that the victims were Americans, he added. Once officials have identified U.S. license plates of the minivan the group had been traveling in, Mexican authorities reached out to the U.S. counterparts. At least they reached out to the U.S., but still, guys, Mexico's time for them to lose their tourist money, because after the map and how pretty much all the states have warnings except for 2, y'all need to boycott. We need to just say boycott. Hashtag boycott Mexico, period. This is the governor of Tamaulipas, Americo Villarreal Anya. He confirmed the condition of the 4 kidnapped Americans over a phone call during President Andrés Manuel López Obrador's press conference on Tuesday. 2 are dead, 2 alive, 1 wounded. So this is here. This governor looked like he had a long night. Look at his face, y'all. He looked like he been through hell and back. Look at his face, y'all. He like, I'm done with this. Y'all Americans don't come back over here, because I ain't trying to have this stuff happening over here in my country. And look at her over here crying. She was the same one that was loud and rambunctious on that video, cussing, talking about, we going to effing Mexico, la da da da. Now look at her. I'm scared, as sad as this is, and this shouldn't have happened, it's sad, but I hope this will slow this woman down. She needs to do some straight soul searching, because the things that she's doing in her life is not it. She's not being a good mom, period. This woman is not mother of the year, period. She don't know how to even raise a kid. These kids are going to grow up being just victimized and traumatized because their mama is a hot mess. I'm just saying, based on the fact that one of her kids allegedly had drugs in her system, and you got social services coming in and out of the house checking on the condition of the kids, it sounds to me like this mom is a hot mess, and then she's over here abandoning her kids to go to Mexico to get a tummy tuck. When you could have took that money and did something for your kids. Where are your priorities at? Where are your priorities? You got a kid. You acting like you single. You got 5 whole children at the house. You should have been trying to get them some clothes and taking care of them. It's probably the tax money. People getting them taxes, and they taking that tax money and going crazy. That's what I'm saying. So anyway, she got injured after she, her cousin, and 2 friends were kidnapped. The mother of 5 was seen without shoes after surviving the tragic incident, along with friend Eric Williams, who was shot in the left leg. And see, look, she ain't got no shoes on. Look at her. No shoes at all. Where's her shoes at? I hope this slows her down. I hope she learns a lesson from this and she really gets some straight soul searching and just change her ways, because her ways aren't it. Your friends lost their life because y'all was out here acting a fool, not making good choices in your life. So I'm just saying. I was being so loving and caring and empathetic to this lady, but now I'm like, you know what? No, and more no. She doing too much. And then the friends around her over here, just drug dealers selling drugs, getting involved in domestic violence, committing burglaries, all a hot mess, allegedly. Mexican authorities are seen here investigating the white SUV McGee and her friends drove into the country with. Okay, y'all doing too much. Well, how long is this article going to be? Because I ain't trying to read this whole stuff. Mexican authorities said they were able to scan the public surveillance cameras in the area to determine the number of cartel cars that were involved in the attack. Wow. So, guys, they know the cars that were involved. Well, you already know they're already in. I don't know. Those government officials are involved too. So I have questions. He said that they scanned the medical facilities in Matamoros in hopes of finding the kidnapping victims earlier, but to no avail. I think they knew the whole time. I think they were over there trying to talk to the U.S. and say, hey, we got your folks. What y'all going to pay up? Let me know what you're going to pay. We'll let the drug cartel people know. And if they like your offer, then we'll facilitate an exchange at the shed behind our police facilities where we normally do our exchanges at. Because how you have a whole shed behind a police facility? That sounds like that was planted there for these little ransoms they be doing. I'm just saying. It sounds too organized to me. And the way they found them and stuff, it just sounds too organized. Defense Secretary General Luis Sandoval was asked about the kidnappings on both sides of the border, especially in the U.S., where victims are then taken into Mexico to seek ransom. Wow, so it looks like drug cartels coming over to the U.S. and also kidnap close to the border. So y'all, if y'all live in a Texas area in Brownsville, y'all better be careful. I'm just saying, they be over here trying to kidnap folks too because they broke. They want some money. Any way they can get money, they're going to do it. Defense. Tamaulipas has been a state where violence and the presence of groups has been important, he said. It should be noted during the current administration, a security strategy was established and very specific objectives were set for Tamaulipas for the border to take care of the border. The security strategy that was implemented has been given very good results. I don't have the stats here right now, but the number of intentional homicides have dropped in Tamaulipas thanks to this strategy. The participation of the Army, the strategy of the Air Force has been important. Governor Americo Villarreal said that there has been close attention on the incident and medical support was provided to surviving victims, while the Mexican president vowed that those responsible will be punished. We'll see about that. We will see. I'm going to wait and see if it be punished. I'm just saying. They're doing that now because it's in the limelight, but we'll see. Those responsible are going to be found and they're going to be punished, President Lopez Obrador said. The Tamaulipas State Attorney General's office said that the 4 American citizens were found at about 7:30 a.m. Tuesday, 4 days after going missing. Okay, so they found them 7:30 in the morning. Like I said, I think they knew the whole time. That's just my opinion. In the lead up to the rescue, Mexican newspaper Milenio cites law enforcement officials were investigating whether the group was kidnapped by members of the Gulf Cartel, a notoriously violent gang run by a feared leader known as La Quina. And we saw La Quina up here. Let's go back to his picture real quick before we go back down. That's him. He is the notorious leader that is leading La Quina. And can you believe La Quina is only 19 years old? That's some crazy mess that he's 19, y'all. Isn't that crazy? I can't believe he's 19 over here running and calling shots. Former Attorney General Bill Barr said, the U.S. authorities should treat the gangs the same way they do ISIS when negotiating for Americans' release. See that? So look at this negotiating for Americans' release. That's why I'm telling you, the American officials, like the FBI and all them, they're not going to tell the public how they negotiate these releases. That's why I'm telling you, there was some money exchanged to get those Americans back. How much they gave up, I don't know. But they definitely had to negotiate with the cartel to get them back. and the Mexican government, because the Mexican government works with the cartel. I'm just saying. In my opinion, the Mexican government is being held hostage by tens of thousands of paramilitary members of terrorist organizations that effectively control Mexico. And as spring breakers pack their bikinis and sunglasses to hit the beach in Mexico, the U.S. government has urged citizens to avoid cartel hotspots amid a spike in violence. It's pretty close at this stage to a failed narco state. He said they can use violence and oceans of cash to corrupt the government. The government has no will, and it doesn't have the ability to deal with the cartels. Wow. So yeah, that's pretty sad that the government can't even regulate. Republican Representatives Don Crenshaw of Texas and Michael Watts of Florida recently introduced a bill that would give Biden authority to use the U.S. military against these cartels in Mexico. What? Uh-oh, the U.S. military about to roll up in there and be like, brrr. Oh, I would love to see that happen. I would love to see that happen. Because the cartel, it's time to rage war. It's time to rage war on the cartel because the cartel's getting out of hand. I'm just saying. They're doing too much, guys. They're doing way too much. It's like it's time for the U.S. to do something about it. In response, Ricardo Monreal tweeted the following yesterday. My response to the representatives from Texas, Dan Crenshaw, Texas, is direct and clear. I reject all foreign interference in the internal affairs of Mexico and also the claim to apply United States law in our country. It's called sovereignty, even if Crenshaw doesn't get it. Ooh, that is what the Mexican officials are saying. They're saying, boy, bye, do not interfere with our stuff over here. We like it corrupt as it is. We don't want you trying to clean our country. We want to keep it nice and dirty like the way we like it. Okay? That's what he basically was saying, y'all. But he said it in a diplomatic way. La Quina leads the Gulf Cartel and it's also known as Cicilone 19. His real name is Alberto Garcia Villano. Man, he ain't no joke. Oh, so he's not 19, guys. That's just his nickname. Cicilone 19. I don't know how old he is, but Alberto Garcia Villano ain't no joke, y'all. He leading the straight, roughest, craziest cartel out there. Dang, he ain't no joke, y'all. Mexican authorities have been hunting him for months, and they are offering a reward of 2.5 million pesos for any information that could lead to his arrest. Dang, they're trying to get Mr. Alberto. Alberto, you better be on the run, bro. U.S. is going to come for you, boy. White House spokesperson Karine Jean-Pierre told reporters on Monday during a news briefing that the Biden administration has been closely following the assault and kidnapping of the 4 U.S. citizens. I say good job to Biden. I think Biden did a good job. He did. He got them back home. That's all that matters. He got them home. Good job, Biden. These sort of attacks are unacceptable, she said, adding that U.S. law enforcement was in touch with Mexican authorities at Departments of State and Homeland Security. Now, Biden did a good job in this case. He need to do something about Shanquilla now because he's been lacking on that case. He need to wake up and smell the justice regarding Shanquilla. But this is a live still shot of this girl. We already seen her picture before. And now here's this picture. Okay, so McGee was seen in the back of an ambulance before being transported to Texas after brutal kidnapping that officials believe was a case of mistaken identity. I doubt that it was mistaken identity. I think it was targeted. I think this was intentional. They need to stop with that fake news because that's straight fake news and people are not dumb. This was targeted for sure, in my opinion. So here's this still shot here of McGee seen wiping her eyes with a tissue as Williams, who was shot in the left leg, but also survived the ordeal, was treated in the back of the emergency vehicle. He seemed real calm right here because he was talking all that mess before. I'm just saying. Now, Kirby in on the development over Gulf Cartel Mexico. Let's hear what he got to say, y'all. Let's hear what this Mr. Kirby has to say.
Hey ladies, we are giving out free Dove samples. Just fill out our quick 2-minute survey and we'll ship it.
We have seen the announcement by Mexican officials regarding the status of the 4 Americans that were attacked in Matamoros last Friday. We're still working with Mexican officials to learn more and to have all 4 victims return to the United States. We offer our deepest condolences to the friends and families of those who were killed in these attacks. Attacks on U.S. citizens are unacceptable, no matter where or under what circumstances they occur. And we're going to work closely with the Mexican government to ensure that justice is done in this case. Right now, our immediate concerns are for the safe return of our citizens, the health and the well-being of those who survived this attack, and the support which must be rendered to the families of those who did not. And you heard the president talk about this when we were down in Mexico City. It remains a top priority for him. And since the very first day of the administration, he's been acting against these transnational criminal organizations, including the Mexican drug cartels and human smugglers. We've been focused on taking big actions to fight drug traffickers and to go after the financial backing of cartels and their attempt to bring fentanyl into the country. It includes, with historic funding by this administration, executive orders, working closely with Mexico to prosecute dangerous drug traffickers, and of course, rallying the global community to address this crisis. Again, President Biden has secured record levels of funding for border security and management, to include support now for 23,000 agents to secure the border. So we've already stepped up those efforts. And as you remember from the North American Leaders Summit, border security and fentanyl trafficking was a key component of the discussions. And we do appreciate the added effort and energy that Mexico is applying to that. We seek a strategic competition with China. We do not seek conflict. And there is nothing about our approach to this most consequential bilateral relationships that should lead anybody to think that we want conflict. In fact, everything that we're doing is in keeping with the president's guidance that we aim to compete and we aim to win that competition with China, but we absolutely want to keep it at that level. There's been no change to our one China policy. None. We do not support independence for Taiwan. We've been very clear about that. We also don't want to see the status quo across that strait changed unilaterally, and we certainly don't want to see it changed by force. So, with all due respect to the Chinese foreign minister, there is no change to the United States posture when it comes to this bilateral relationship.
Free delivery is happening now through April 2nd at Sprouts Farmers Market when you spend $35 or more online. Sprouts is your destination for fresh, organic, seasonal produce, healthy, chef-created convenience meals, high-quality Sprouts brand products, and an incredible value and so much more. It's easy to shop online and have your healthy groceries delivered directly.
Oh, guys, how can I get this thing to stop talking? I'm trying to get it to stop. Oh, is it stopped yet, y'all? Can y'all hear it or not hear it? Okay, I'm trying to get it to stop. I don't know if it stopped. Anyway, let me check it. Put a 1 in the chat if that stupid ad stopped. But anyway, one of you guys asked if you think she was raped. I hope she wasn't raped, y'all. I pray she was not. That would be very, very horrific if she was. I don't know. I don't know. I hope she wasn't. I haven't heard anything about it, but y'all know I'd be digging. So if I find anything about that, it will be revealed. Okay. Now, the FBI and Mexican law enforcement are investigating, with the Bureau asking the public for information leading to arrests. The State Department has a do not travel warning in place for Tamaulipas state due to crime and rape and kidnapping. Sorry, I said, y'all got me saying raping, crime and kidnapping. It said organized crime activity, including gun battles, armed robberies, and kidnappings are common along the border and in Ciudad Victoria. Criminal groups target public and private passenger buses, as well as private automobiles traveling through Tamaulipas, often taking passengers and demanding ransom payment, the warning states. So that's what it sounds like happened here. I honestly do not think for one moment there was a mistaken identity. I don't think that was the case at all. Period, and more period. Period, poo. It was not a mistake, y'all. It was not. They targeted them because of them U.S. license plates. That's what I think it was. But I still have a question as to what was their real intentions going to Mexico in the first place. I have doubts about this whole tummy tuck thing, y'all. Y'all let me know if y'all believe it was a tummy tuck or you guys have questions too, because these people are involved in some very sketchy stuff. They look like they're straight drug users, drug dealers over here, burglarizing houses. These people they seem very grimy to me. and the mom don't seem too responsible with her kids. She's a hot mess as it is, in my humble opinion. I'm just being humble as I can be, y'all. But I'm just telling you my thoughts at the same time because I got to keep it real. Y'all know I got to tell you what I feel. They just sound pretty sketchy to me, y'all. Now, just because sketchy people, did they deserve to go through this? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And those poor people did not deserve to be taken out like that. And a lot of their crimes are pretty old, okay? So at the same time, they might have been trying to get their life right, but I still, you just never know. People don't deserve to die like that. That's just messed up. I'm just saying. So this person posted here, she says, on behalf of my hometown, we would like to thank everyone who has been supporting Latavia, Eric Williams, and the two others that we have unfortunately lost. I heard this morning that Zindel was a cousin and that I unfortunately didn't get the chance to know. I'm taking time away to get to know all my family members because life is too short to get to know. So she didn't realize that Zindel was her cousin, y'all. That's crazy. She did not know, or he did not know that Zindel was his cousin. Isn't that crazy? He finds out that it's his cousin after he dies. That is some crazy stuff. Now, I hear through the grapevine that Zindel has a GoFundMe and he's trying to raise $100,000 for his GoFundMe so that they can give him a good funeral. Some people are over here questioning the GoFundMe. They're over here saying, why is he asking for so much money? Whoop-de-doo-de-doo. I'm about to show you guys his GoFundMe right now. Y'all let me know if you think it's legit or not. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's going to raise the money because it's a national case. So here he so far has raised $2,369 of the $100,000 that he's been raising, the goal that they have. It says bringing Zindel home because, they also have to pay to bring his body home. They got to pay that out of their pocket. Just because this is a national case doesn't mean they just get stuff for free. They got to pay for all that stuff. So they did this beautiful picture of Zindel here. And it says, fly Zindel home. It's sad that happened to him. That's so sad. Let's read what the GoFundMe says. This person says, so it looks like here, like I said, the goal is $100,000. As you can see, there's been 62 donations so far. And this is a beautiful picture. That's why I had to go back up because I love this picture. Don't y'all love this? Well, hold on. I'm talking about I love the picture. Y'all can't even see it. Sorry, y'all. All right, let me take this down so y'all can see. Okay, there it is. Look at that picture. It's so beautiful, isn't it? It is just so beautiful, whoever did this picture. But let's read the GoFundMe and hear what they have to say. This lady says, hi, my name is Zalan. Oh, my God. I told y'all to give us real names. Hi, my name is Zelena Brown Grant. I am the oldest sister of Zindel Brown, who was among the 4 Americans who were kidnapped and later found in Mexico. We just received information from the FBI that Zindel passed away. On March 3rd, 2023, my brother and 3 other friends entered Matamoros, Mexico. My brother went as a support for his friend Latavia McGee, who was going to get surgery in Mexico. Again, I don't know if I believe that. And now I'm side-eyeing everything. Shortly after entering Mexico from Brownsville, Texas, their vehicle was caught up in the crossfire of 2 different cartels at war. That's fake too. They were shooting that car. After what appears to have been a car accident, the 4 Americans were then loaded onto the back of a white GMC pickup truck and taken away. Our family waited for any news about my brother's return, but he won't be coming home alive. My family is trying to raise funds for the final expenses of my brothers and Dale Brown. We are still working with the authorities to understand when Zindel's body will be released and sent to us here in South Carolina. From there, we were told that we may have to pay for a second autopsy ourselves. As a family, we are not prepared for all the unexpected costs due to this sudden tragedy. Zindel was a loving son, loving brother, uncle, and friend. We hope to give him the final goodbye that he deserves. Our family is grieving, and we appreciate any prayers and support from the community during this time. Family of Zindel Brown. Now, some people have issues with the GoFundMe. They're over here saying why he want to raise this kind of money, blah, blah, blah. You know how Black folks are. They always got something to say. I just say, hey, we can't question these people's intentions. They got to pay money to fly this man back. They got to do all these autopsies. They're going to have a long road ahead. Hey, if they say they need $100,000, that's what it is. It is what it is. So it's sad, y'all. I'm actually going to put this GoFundMe link into the chat. If you guys want to donate, you can. I just posted it for you there. May he rest in peace. I'm going to see if anybody else has a GoFundMe. I'm going to check out and see if... what's going on here? Friend warned police. Okay, let's. We got more of developments. More developments in this case. Friend warned police Americans feared missing in Mexico. Oh no, what's going on? Is this another Mexico case? Okay, let's read this, y'all. We're about to read this because there's some more stuff going on in this case. I thought we were done for tonight, y'all. They got too much stuff developing in this case. Every time we turn around, something else come out about this case. They need to slow down because I need time to report on all this stuff. Anyway, friend warned police Americans feared missing in Mexico. This was just published in Lake City, South Carolina. The frantic effort to rescue 4 Americans taken captive in Mexico in a kidnapping that left 2 deceased came after a woman traveling with the group contacted police when they did not return to the U.S. side as expected. So that's what we talked about before. Remember the 5th girl? Let's show her picture real quick because y'all might have forgot her by now. We've been talking about so much stuff. Y'all probably like, who are we talking about now? Her, this young lady. So she grew concerned. She was like, wait, they didn't come back to the U.S. side. She was sitting here waiting for them. That's when she was the one that contacted the authorities. This young lady here, the 5th person that went on that trip. That's what we're talking about right now. Let's get back to the article here before. So here are the people over here crying and consoling each other about the loss. People comfort each other after a vigil for a group of Americans recently kidnapped in Mexico. A Word of God Ministries in Scranton, South Carolina, Wednesday, March 8th. 2 of the 4 Americans, all from South Carolina, were unalived after being caught in a deadly shootout while traveling last week to Matamoros for one of them to get cosmetic surgery. So people are pretty traumatized at this visual. But anyways, Cheryl Orange, who I just showed you the picture of, she didn't cross into Mexico with the others, told the Associated Press in a text message that her 3 friends were supposed to return within 15 minutes after dropping off their companion, Latavia, for cosmetic surgery in the Mexico border city of Matamoros on Friday. So that's what it sounded like. So they were going to drop her off at the doctor's office, and then they were going to come back to the U.S. side and stay at the hotel until she got done, and then they were going to come back and pick her up. That's basically what was going to happen. Orange stayed behind at a motel in Brownsville, Texas, and said she grew concerned as the hours passed and she did not hear from the others. The 5 friends had driven a rented minivan from South Carolina on Thursday to the southern tip of Texas, according to a police report based on Orange's account. So Orange filed a police report when they didn't come back after hours. She contacted the authorities. She told them that their 5 friends had driven a rented car. So that minivan, they didn't even own that minivan, guys. That's some more tea that came out. The minivan wasn't even theirs. They rented that van to make this road trip. So they're going to have to come out of pocket because that car is damaged. So they're going to have to pay for that too. So that should be a whole GoFundMe as well. Well, I guess it's covered by the insurance if they paid for insurance because it wasn't their fault. Basically, the car was crashed because of those cartel people who crashed into them intentionally. But that's no more tea that van was rented, y'all. They didn't own that van. So 5th friend, she talks about they rented this minivan from South Carolina on Thursday to the southern tip of Texas, according to when she told the police this. 4 of them left Friday morning around 8 a.m. to go to Mexico. So it looks like what they did, guys, is they arrived in Texas. They got this little janky hotel room. They stayed there the night when they first arrived there. And then that morning, around 8 a.m. Then they drove into Mexico when they were going to drop her off at her appointment. And then they were going to drive back into Texas to wait for her to be done with her procedure. And then when she called them up, they were going to go back and pick her up, basically. Orange's statement and the report offer the most detailed account so far of what led to the kidnapping that saw McGee and another friend whisked back to a U.S. hospital Tuesday after Mexican authorities rescued them and found the bodies of their two friends at a wooden shack on the outskirts of Matamoros. The two also left a Mexican woman deceased. That's crazy, y'all. This is crazy. I'm glad that we got this article, though, because this article gives us a little bit more tea about the fifth woman and where she was and all that stuff. A member of the Mexican security forces stands next to the white minivan with North Carolina plates and several bullet holes at the crime scene where a gunman kidnapped 4 U.S. citizens who crossed into Mexico from Texas, Friday, March 3rd. Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador said the 4 Americans were going to buy medicine and were caught in the crossfire between 2 armed groups after they had entered Matamoros across Brownsville, Texas. That's a lie. That's a lie, guys. Look at this. This crime scene right here tells it all. This car right here in the burgundy, this car intentionally crashed into this rented minivan. He did that on purpose to stop the car so that the other members can shoot up the car. This was a play-by-play. This was not a whole, 2 rivalry people shooting at each other. No, they were shooting at this minivan. They wanted the minivan. They wanted whoever was in that minivan. And it looks like they got out the car. Look at how these doors opened up. After the car crashes on this side, this is where the driver and everybody in the back started running out. And that's when they got shot. They ran out this way of the car. And you can see this doors open here. Whoever was in that side, they ran out that way. They were trying to get out, to get away. Orange told police she didn't cross the border because she didn't have her identification. She said she could not provide additional details because she was awaiting a call from McGee, who was to be released from the hospital in Brownsville. The other wounded American, Eric Williams, who is also being treated at a hospital for a gunshot wound to the leg. Wow, this story gets crazier and crazier, y'all. Just crazy. Oh my God, I'm overwhelmed with all the craziness in this story. Elder Sharon Hamad prayed during a vigil for a group of Americans recently kidnapped in Mexico. A Word of God Ministries in Scranton, South Carolina, Wednesday, March 8th. 2 of the 4 Americans from South Carolina were unalived after being caught in deadly shootout. Americans Zindel and Shaid died in the attack. Orange confirmed via text that the friends went on the trip to accompany McGee for cosmetic surgery. She simply went for a cosmetic surgery, and that's it. That's all. This happened to them, Orange said. See, this is what makes me think it's more than just that's it and that's all. Why does she have to say that? That's it. That's all. They just simply went for a cosmetic surgery. That's it. That's all. This happened to them. You know what? She has to work so hard to say that's it, that's all. It makes me question if there was more to this whole trip than just the cosmetic surgery. And given their drug background, I wonder if they were going there to buy some drugs. That's a question I have. Okay. Mexican authorities have said the group was fired on and crashed their van soon after they crossed into Matamoros Friday as drug cartel factions tore through the streets. And we already seen all this, y'all, where they were loaded in that truck and blah, blah, blah. They're trying to give us the same stuff again. The Americans were hauled off a pickup truck, and Mexican authorities frantically searched as the cartel moved them around, even taking them to a medical clinic to create confusion and avoid efforts to rescue them, the region's governor, Americano. But it seemed like, even though they were traveling them from different buildings to different buildings, it seemed like they did want to give them up because they never took them out and unalived them. So it sounds like they were going to eventually give them up once they got the right money offer, because I guarantee you there was some money exchanged for them to come back alive. Okay, now let's hear more for this fifth lady, Orange. Orange told authorities in Brownsville that she had everyone's luggage but had been unable to reach them, according to the police report. She tried calling their cell phones, but they sound turned off, the report states. It said Orange was given a phone number to follow up with criminal investigators on Monday if she hadn't heard from her friends. A Brownsville Police Department spokesman did not immediately respond to a request for comment. CNN was the first to report on the police report. It's unclear how FBI, which is leading the investigation on the U.S. side, was first informed of the kidnapping. A spokeswoman for the agency had no immediate comment Wednesday. Mexican authorities found the group Tuesday. Oh my God, this is repeating his stuff. Okay, a GoFundMe set up by Brown's family said his relatives hope the loving son, brother, uncle gets the goodbyes he deserves. Relatives said here's a good thing. Relatives said they grew up as close friends in South Carolina town of South Lake, a community of less than 6,000 residents in the state's PD region. Family members said they're agonized for days while waiting to learn whether the loved ones was alive and whether they had survived. That's sad. They had to sit there tortured for those 3 days trying to figure out if their loved one is still alive. Lake City leaders called for community to support the victim's family, with Mayor Robinson sending them her deepest sympathy. There's a lot of Robinsons floating around in these Mexico cases. We got Shaquella Robinson, we got the attorney Sue Ann Robinson. Now we got this Mayor Robinson. So many Robinsons going on. Pastor Herbert Godwin echoed that message during a Wednesday prayer service at Word of God Outreach Ministries that drew about 40 people. 4 candles were lit for the victims. Among the worshipers was Barry Epp, 28, who said he grew up near Woodard and McGee. He played football with Brown, who he remembered as a quiet guy. He recalled Woodard as a good-spirited, friendly jokester. As seeing video of his longtime neighbor's violent abduction on Facebook, Epp said he couldn't shake the tragedy. He hopes his city pulls together. Yeah, that's pretty sad to see someone be treated like that. That's messed up. You never know what tomorrow's going to bring, Epp said. You got to love your people while they're here. So here's just a photo of, Pastor Herbert Godwin speaking at a vigil here. Was speaking at that vigil. They had a vigil for the individuals that were caught in the crossfire. And here's some friends here crying about it and sad that their friend died. This is pretty sad. Blyberg reported from Dallas. Watson's reported from San Diego. Blah, da, 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 da. But here's some people who are sad about losing their friend at the vigil here. People gathered during a vigil for a group of Americans recently kidnapped in Mexico. Sad. Dang. But I'm glad we got this article because we got to hear from Orange. We got some more details about this lady here who was she was holding on to everybody's luggage at the hotel, camped out. I bet that had to have been terrifying for her, guys. I bet this girl was in that hotel terrified as heck because he was only supposed to be gone for 15 minutes. They're supposed to just drop her off at the hospital and head right back. And she probably was like, what in the heck happened? Where are they? Like, she had to wait there. So she was the one that filed the police report and got this whole ball rolling. So in a way, everything worked out because it was good that girl did not have her ID, y'all, because she would have been caught in the crossfire right along with them. And you know what? This thing could have turned out worse if she didn't report it. It could have turned out worse. If she was with them, then no one would have reported them missing. I mean, maybe the family would have reported it, but it might have been delayed, which means they probably wouldn't be here today. So this woman might have saved their life. They better think they're lucky stars she didn't have that ID on her, y'all. Everything works out for the good. Their life was saved because of this woman who was probably the sneaky link. I'm just saying she might be the sneaky link. It sounds kind of sketchy to me. I don't know. It just don't sound right about it, y'all. Hi, all my beautiful people. I got to say hi to my Benjamin. My beautiful Ellen is in the chat. I want to give you a virtual hug. Hi, Dinah. Love you so much. Hi, Amazing Tribe. Love all of you guys so much. Thank you for sticking it out, hearing all these crazy, wild details. I would love to sit and talk to y'all all night long, but I got to get to the bed and hit the road, Jack. I just want to tell you all these crazy details that are unfolding in this case. This case is absolutely psychotic crazy. I mean, the criminal records are crazy. From the information about the kids and then about the 5th girl who was possibly a sneaky link. This case is a hot tamale mess. Just a mess. All right, Let me know what y'all think about this psychotic case. I don't know what to think about it. My mind is all jumbled. I need to get my butt to bed. Love y'all. Toodaloo.